CP.
Are you serious? He's gone! 40, 30, Portis all the way! Touchdown Redskins, 64 yards!
26 minutes.
He's pretty sharp. He'll coach you up on the Miami guys and everything else. He's kind of fun to be around. Got an opinion, too.
I've been blessed to have the opportunity to go out and be myself and say the things that I say. And, for the outside world, they can deal with it how they deal with it.
26 minutes with Clinton Portis. CP. Teach him something.
Welcome to 26 Minutes. I'm CP. We got Monica McNutt in the house. She's finally here, episode 72. Now we got a special guest. I don't even know how to introduce you. I don't know if to introduce you as a gator, a foe. How do I introduce you? You got on the
I like the gator. The gator works.
Yeah, this gator is in the house.
You can probably rock my gators.
She's a great
Julie
gator.
Donaldson.
Yes, Jules.
Thanks for blessing 26
So good
minutes.
to have
first
you.
off.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here. Walking by, say hi. Do a little Redskins Nation.
You bring some style and flair to the set. This purple
Trying,
is
just a little
is
bit.
looking good, Julie.
You don't like my sweatshirt?
It's cool. Yes,
I
no,
do.
I mean that sweatshirt actually is the best one here.
Thank you,
I mean
thank you.
everything about it is good.
Well, what about my sweatshirt? What
It's
about
yellow.
mine?
It's yellow, exactly.
I know.
What
it's
you representing?
Redskins.
Staying warm? Of gold?
There you go.
Oh,
there
see,
you
I
go.
asked for one
That's
of
a
those.
good
I'm still
sweatshirt.
waiting to see how I'm going to get that.
That's a good one.
Hey, I'll tell you how to get it. Go downstairs. You ask Anders for it. But
I don't know if we have that juice.
before we
Right?
get to that,
They'll give you like a triple X.
Y'all have
Here
more
you
juice
go.
than you know. You just have to use it. But since we have you, Julie, we're gonna use your knowledge on the show today. And these Washington Redskins 2-game winning streak, a lot of guys starting to step up. What do you see in this 2-game performance?
I see them saying enough's enough. We're going to try and get performances wherever we can across the board. And I don't know, have you been able to figure out what interim coach Bill Callahan actually said to those guys? Do those talks really turn things around?
I actually think they do. When you had a right coach, when you had a right fire and desire, you need a passion that you can feed off of. And I think that passion, not only with Bill Callahan, you're starting to see it with some of the players. You're
Right.
seeing Harmon, you're seeing Geis, you're seeing Sims Jr. You just need someone that believes in you and motivates you. So if Bill Callahan is doing a good job at motivating the players, all of a sudden it's starting to resonate, and we're starting to see it.
I mean, whatever he said, and even Dwayne Haskins Jr. goes, look, I'm used to Urban Meyer, and that language comes out a lot more. You just hadn't seen it from Callahan yet. So whatever he said, I think to spark a little bit of something going in there. Dwayne taking over, it's a progression. I think you know this, Clinton. You got to give a rookie a little bit of time to adjust. Everybody wants to sit there and say one big play, one bad play, and say it's a bust or it's they're going into all of a sudden the Hall of Fame. I like being able to see Darius Geis finally healthy. I mean, the season, the work for that coming back, but I think the expectation for him to do the game that he had was there. It's the guys that you weren't expecting this from that I'm liking seeing the work from, like the Kelvin Harmon that's having to work, having to learn the extra positions, having to do what he can, having to block just to be able to be on the field in the run game. I like being able to see Steven Sims Jr. trying to get out there. And even when it could have been a play like a couple weeks ago, that muff punt says, okay, I'm going to use my speed, I'm going to use my athleticism, and I'm going to make something of this and try to be worked more into the game plan as well. Those are the guys that I see. The Cole Holcomb, where he's missed a lot of times, was blamed for a lot of just being a rookie, not really knowing how to get out there, and finally starting to make some plays along in this season. I think that's what kind of gets you a little bit more excited.
I would agree. And it's been such a weird season because obviously there's been its fair share of adversity. But in the last 2 games, to see younger guys step up. And at this point, you're sort of playing for the future in terms of what we see that we can build on and build around. So progress.
So you're not buying in that they could still win the division right now?
Progress.
It's a long shot.
Big
And
picture.
it's crazy that we're in December after having such a horrible start to the season that you're still in playoff contention and hunt. You got a big game coming up this week. But as she said, progress 1 week at a time. So when you see, to me, this used to be the norm of coaches speaking that language and talking to you that lit a fire under you. I think in society we've become so soft and so sensitive that the stuff that, used to resonate and force you to go out and give your all. Just as a kid growing up, where parents or coaches talk to you and you had to make that business decision, what am I gonna do while he's speaking to me like that? You don't get the tough coaching anymore, and you got to understand.
You're going to be on your phone and disengaged, and while he's talking, it just comes in and out.
Well, now I think players actually are disengaged.
That's what I'm saying is they're not really locking in. And when all of a sudden somebody that's not used to doing that does speak up, you kind of can't help but hear it.
When you find a coach that lights a fire under you, I go back to Coach Gibbs, right? Coach Gibbs he was a man of God, so therefore he didn't use that language. But if he said the Reds was like a curse word. If he started trembling, that was like a curse word. You know, like it was certain stuff in Coach Gibbs' demeanor that you knew it was fire, it was passionate.
And it doesn't have to be curse words to deliver a very certain message.
And I think the other part of that, because I've heard you talk about Coach Gibbs glowingly, is the relationship, right? Like you would have run through a wall for Coach Gibbs. You've said that. So you could pick up on those little things that could tell you that his level of intensity was going up. To me, I struggle with the idea of kids just being soft. I do think it's a different breed of athlete we're dealing with now.
Kids are definitely just soft.
Okay, but I also think it just means that leadership has to take the time to really build those relationships so that when you do light a fire under
when
me,
you
I feel
speak,
it.
they're going to listen.
So when you look at guys, you got 52, 53-man roster, right? And you saying who's soft, who's not. When you watch everybody play, it's a reason that guys play is standing out right now. 129 yards, that was big, right? The last 2 weeks, his performance has stood out, not just because of yardage, because week 1, he just had a big run. He didn't have a lot of yards. But what's standing out is the fact that he's exciting his players. He's exciting his teammates. He's getting his teammates elevated where they're feeding off his energy. So when you see somebody go out here and stiff arm or run over somebody, that's been missing around here for so long, and we've had this discussion so many times. Now all of a sudden you get a guy like Geis who believes in himself, who I don't think coaches are saying, hey, you know what, I need you to do this. That's not coach. You can't coach what Darius Geis is doing. You can't make him, make the first man miss in the backfield, get downhill, stiff arm somebody, break to the. A coach can't tell you to do that. You've been seeing players do exactly what the coach has drawn up. All of a sudden, you get a guy that's coming in doing it his way, and it's picking up with everyone else, saying, oh, you know what? I can play football. I know how to play this game. Let me use me. When you look at a kid like Sims Jr., I've been saying since preseason, Sims Jr. need more opportunity. He should be on the field because he was one of your most explosive players, and you don't have explosive players on this team. Now all of a sudden you got a young collection: Sims Jr., Harmon, McLaurin, Geis, Haskins. You have something to build with, and you spoke of the unsung players. Think about Flowers. Think about Donald Penn. No one expected those players to do what they're doing. So all of a sudden you have, in what we thought was a lost season, what we thought was a disaster, now all of a sudden you're starting to see some character and personality. So Bruce Allen comments about, hey, the culture around here is not that bad. All of a sudden it's starting to change because you're seeing the defense shape up. You bench Josh Norman and you put Moreau at corner, and you got Dunbar playing. All of a sudden Ioannidis Pro Bowl level. Landon Collins' talent is starting to show. The young kid, the cornerback Holcomb,
Jimmy
the linebacker.
Moreland.
No, I'm saying Holcomb. All of these guys are elevating their play. So whereas you looked from the outside looking in, was like, oh, this Redskins roster is disastrous. All of a sudden you're looking at these young players getting an opportunity, and you're saying, okay, they could possibly have something to build on.
The fantasy football season is right around the corner, and this season there are more ways to win than ever because FanDuel has more ways to win cash prizes and once-in-a-lifetime experiences during every single game and every single week. Never played FanDuel Fantasy before? Great, because new users get a $5 bonus with their first deposit. Sign up for FanDuel now and get $20 in total bonuses. Just make your first deposit to get started, and you'll get an extra $5 in site credit every week for 4 weeks. Go to FanDuel.com/FFT or download the FanDuel app. Helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. The team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at KOCHindustries.com. We have a lot of talent in this building that came from situations where they did win. So to see that they have not become too accustomed to losing and still have that fire and fight, like that propels you forward. Now, I would be curious to say what to see what you think has been the switch? Do you credit Callahan for sort of shifting the culture?
It's changing the voice. And Callahan is a voice that changed. So once you change the voice, it's a difference. Coach Gibbs, to the guy who voice I heard after Coach Gibbs, I could listen to. But Coach Gibbs, I could. Coach Shanahan, I could. Coach Davis, Coach Coker, I could. So when you have a respect for who voice you're hearing, all of a sudden when you hear that voice, whether you're looking directly in the eye, whether you're doing something on your phone, whatever it is, when you hear that voice, it sinks in compared to when you hear that voice and it goes over your head. So I would give the credit to Callahan from allowing players to understand this is not X's and O's. It's not just about what we draw up. It's about execution. It's about what you give. It's about this effort. If I could show you Darius Geis break a tackle in the backfield and all of a sudden go 60 yards, hell, I couldn't draw that up. I didn't draw that up. That's Darius Geis. This is a guy making a play, and making plays become contagious because you see the energy. As Geis said, I was the only, and he wasn't pointing himself out. He said in his interview, when it came down to the end of the game, I was the only person on the sideline trying to get everybody excited. Now, all of a sudden, next week, you're going to see someone else on the sideline in Green Bay. You're going to see someone else get up and say, okay, let's go, team, let's go. Because these guys, when the offense is on the field, defense is sitting down talking. Everybody is isolated. D-line, linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties. When the when the defense is on the field, the offense, everybody is isolated. Now, all of a sudden, you got defense on the field. Here's offense. Stand up. Root these guys on. You shouldn't be coaching me during the game. Every time you look, it was a coach under Coach Gruden. And no knock to Coach Gruden. It was a coach standing on the sideline. Let me coach you up. Let me show you this. You showed me this all week. I'm either going to do it or I'm not. It's nothing that you can show me. You're trying to get me to adjust, and you got me thinking too much. Get out my face. Let me play football.
Get out my face and let me play football.
What about on the defensive side, though? Because Callahan comes in, and you kind of knew that there was a little bit of spark on the offense, especially once they finally decided to go to Dwayne, that he had that excitement going out there while there's the progression to learn, and still plenty of guys he's missing. But on defense, I mean, this defense was so underperforming for so long, and the finger kept being pointed at Manusky, and then all of a sudden something was kind of like clicking and changing. Is that still Callahan too?
Well, I think Callahan gave Manusky the reins. Like, you have to draw up and you have to put these players in position. When you give guys an opportunity to compete, it's totally different. If this room is open to competition and the best man is going to get on the field, all of a sudden you're going to see Sims Jr. on the field. No knock to Trey Quinn, but Sims Jr. or Trey Quinn, who am I more of a threat? He can run the option route. He can run a deep route. He's capable of giving me a big play.
Quinn's been here slightly a little bit longer.
It doesn't matter. It's no seniority.
But I think in college he played more positions than Sims did. So Sims is still trying to learn. And when you do put Sims in, you want Sims to be in the right position to make those plays, right?
I want the player. If my player can't learn, he doesn't need to be on this team.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's a progression in the learning process.
Julie, before you bring a guy into an organization, you know whether he can learn or not. That's like going to college, like, so then, okay, you have an understanding of this guy's learning curve.
I hear both of you. So then at what point are you looking at the results? It's a results-driven industry. How much leeway do you give a guy to step in and learn versus are you not getting it done? Like, at what point are we making changes?
Every time I see Trey Quinn, who makes big catches, who gives you a play, it's 7 to 14 yards. Mm-hmm. Cool, he's diving to catch the ball where he catches it at. He's down. I see Sims Jr. muffle kickoff, and everybody say, "Oh!"
Yeah.
You see, so that playmaking ability alone is putting Sims Jr. on the field for me, right? Calvin Harmon, Paul Richardson. No one is talking about Paul Richardson. No one has mentioned Paul Richardson.
Because there hasn't been a lot out of Paul. And again, you go to the contracts he was given.
So when there's not a lot out of a player,
and you were wanting more out of him.
So how long do you want?
Oh, I know. I think it's done and past. You've had your opportunities to go out there, healthy or not healthy. I mean,
I was sitting down.
I'm with you.
And
I
thought about Josh Norman, Paul Richardson, Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis, Trent Williams,
Alex Smith. Put that one right there at the top.
Yeah. Right, Alex Smith, Chris Thompson. Who else?
That's a good list. We're going. If you're making the point?
High dollars.
You're
not being on the field.
Ruben Foster. Right.
Bryce Love just brought in as well. Haven't seen anything yet.
Bryce Love came in injured, so you knew he wasn't going to be in. So your top 8 players are not playing. right? They're not performing. Even Kerrigan didn't play last week. Your top 9 players didn't perform in what's probably been the most impressive game from the Washington Redskins in quite some time. Down 14-0, the Redskins haven't come back in I don't know how long. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care who the quarterback is. 14-0, this game is over. Redskins fans can leave. All of a sudden, you're missing all of your top players. You're missing all of the guys that you went into the season relying upon that you felt like were going to give you something. You don't have them. And this young nucleus of guys that, can't learn, that's not that good. That's
taken last, guys in the 7th round, 4th round stepping up and performing.
Opportunity.
Right. And you have to be prepared when that opportunity comes to be able to step in. That's just the only argument that I have.
Our Performance Player of the Week presented by Bedgear, the official mattress and pillow partner of the Washington Redskins, goes to none other than a guest of the show, a guy we love, guy who comes and brings the energy, a guy who's actually changing this team, and Darius Geis. Big runs from Darius, so big ups to Geis this week. But as we come back, it came out in the media. Dabo said the NCAA kind of had something against him. And I understood Dabo's frustration because when you're at the top and you're doing something for so long, you kind of get taken for granted. You look at Ohio State, you look at LSU, you look at Alabama, and Dabo said these teams get an opportunity that if they lose, they can bounce back and still make the playoffs. We got to go 30-0. We have to be perfect. We can't make a mistake. We can't slip up. We have no leeway. And then I took that in and I said, if in this college football atmosphere, I think Alabama get all the chances possible. And it's a no-brainer. Everybody wants to see Alabama in the playoffs. LSU.
Sorry, not having it.
LSU. I think LSU has probably been the most dominant team in college football to date. But if they were to slip up, I don't think they have the leeway. The leniency
isn't the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. LSU goes out and dogs Alabama. Alabama falls to number 5. If LSU was to lose to anybody, if LSU lost in the SEC championship game, they're going to fall out of the playoff contention. Ohio State gets that same leeway. Ohio State playing good football. Oklahoma. It's teams that feel as if they're trying to get in. Dabo makes a good point, but at the same time, hasn't played a top 25 team.
His schedule.
His schedule is really favorable, but as he said, it doesn't matter. We beat Alabama.
Okay.
We're the defending national champs. So all of those people that you're saying are here, your best shot over the recent years, Dabo has upset.
I have not been paying close attention to college football. Julie, you want to get into this one? Because I got another topic I want to hit.
First off, I think he has to be the microphone for the team. He has to be able to do this because this is the only way you're going to get the attention is to go out there and make these comments, to make these protests, to say, okay, look, we need to be garnering a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, you've got Alabama and Ohio State that have consistently, year in, year out, had tough schedules, played tough teams, done it on a yearly basis, every single week going out there. So yeah, you want to be able to see the playing field equal, but if you're not playing the tough competition every single week, I mean, is it really that fair, Clinton, as well? I'm not going to hate him for speaking up saying they want more
he
because
has to say it.
We're talking about it. We're looking at it. People are hearing that. But at the same time, you've got to have the respect and not just against one team on 1 week.
Well, the conference that you're in is a conference that you're in. Like people said that about the Big East when I was in college and playing in the Big East. But you look at Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State has a tough schedule. Michigan every year is overrated. Wisconsin every year is overrated. Like these teams that you feel like are
flat
putting
out
themselves.
Overrated? Okay.
I think so because Wisconsin is always built up to come out and dominate and demolish teams, and they're not doing it. Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, they've underachieved. They have yet to get to the playoffs. So you get all of these opportunities, and they never exceed. Ohio State scheduling, I don't think is that tough. The team that's really tough
You're talking
is
also
LSU.
to a girl from the SEC, so
Uh-oh.
you don't really get a lot of
Florida's scheduling is
Florida,
not
and
that
I
tough.
agree. Florida's schedule I thought was a little soft this year, and they even went out and said, okay, look, we're going to see who do you want us to play next season to schedule, because some of them have been a little bit cupcakes, but still, and we did lose to LSU. Darius has his bragging rights over on that one, but you want to see playing the tough competition in order to be able to have that respect to say that we deserve to be in the top.
I also would challenge Dabo. What do you want? Like right now, you're third. Like you're not better than
I know,
LSU
but what
right now.
Dabo
or
is
Ohio
saying
State.
is, if I lose in this ACC championship game,
Then it's
our
over.
season
You're
is
right,
over.
because if you lose to Virginia, it is.
Oh, Virginia is a good team. You can have an off day. We've seen numerous teams have off days.
So now you want your cake and you're going to eat it too. This is what makes the mayhem that we seem to love about college football. In terms of you make a mistake, it could cost you your season. It could have major ramifications. Now you're going to whine about it? Like, which one is it?
Well, I'm not whining, and we're not going to make the mistake.
Dabo is.
We have Doug Williams
A
in
lot
the
of
house.
whining.
So I'm going to cut Julie Donaldson, this Florida Gator. You have to leave. Hey, matter of fact,
Thanks
I
for
see
coming,
you.
Julie.
No, you know what I just realized? She
That
got on this
LSU purple?
Yeah, she got on this LSU purple.
See, tell me about this. Every time, Monica, do you put on a color and somebody wants to associate it with the
And
team?
you're just like, what are you talking about? This looks good on my skin.
I'm like, I went in, I said, oh, purple sweater. I'm going to wear that. I wasn't thinking LSU, certainly. Otherwise,
Hey.
I'd ban ever purple from my wardrobe.
We-
and I certainly wasn't thinking Ravens either.
Listen,
There you
since
go.
our program sucked, we both repping for the Tigers, all right? Appreciate you coming on
Thanks for
26
having me
minutes,
on,
Julie.
guys.
Redskins defensive lineman number 93, Jonathan Allen, hates to lose. So he's teaming up with Papa John's and you to help donate to Sasha Bruce Youth Work, helping homeless children in our region every day. Team 93 needs you to make it a winning day for your family and these special children. You'll get a large 2-topping pizza and an order of wings for just $20, and Papa John's will donate 93 cents to Sasha Bruce Youth Work for every single order. Play to eat, play to give, but play to win, because nobody wants to lose. Official team news, full game day experience, and live local Redskins games are all available on the Washington Redskins mobile app. Download it today. Geographic and device restrictions apply. Local and primetime games only. Data charges may apply.
Like any great roster, the Virginia Lottery's lineup of holiday games features different and impressive stars. Let's take a look at the lineup. For $1, you can play the Naughty and Nice Scratcher and have a chance to win up to $1,000. The $2 holiday cash game gives players a shot at winning up to $20,000. 5,000 overload features 305,000 prizes in the entire game. The Holiday 7 Multiplier Scratcher is a clear way to have fun, and $600 holiday bonus cash is loaded with over 6,500 $600 prizes in the entire game. Plus, there's a Virginia's New Year's Millionaire Raffle too. And don't forget that you can play holiday-themed e-games on your mobile device with Mobile Play. All you need is a Virginia Lottery app and to be a lottery retailer. Give the gift of Virginia Lottery holiday games.
I'm trying to meet that boy Clinton Portis, though. They say that boy, they say he's smooth on his feet. I'm trying to teach him something.
Teach him something.
Teach him something.
Welcome back to 26 Minutes, episode 72. We've been blessed with the man, the myth, the legend, Doug Williams, to join the set. Hey, Doug, first off, thanks for coming on 26 Minutes.
It's my pleasure, man. Hey, 26, Clinton Portis, I'm here.
Hey, look, this platform, because it's hard to get a conversation with Doug. I've been texting him and calling. It's hard to get this man on the phone, but luckily I ran into him at lunch. He was he was willing to come in after he told me no. A couple guys said, Doug, you can talk to Clinton, man. Come on. He was like, all right. So he came in. But now that we got you, last 2 weeks, I would say, Monica would say, any fan of the Washington Redskins would say, after seeing some of college football and knowing what's available, why would you go win 2 games?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my God.
But you,
Forgive him.
now
You know
that you
what?
won
Forgive
2
him,
games,
Doug. Forgive him.
no. Now that you won 2 games, and your young players have started to show promise, what do you attribute that to?
Well, first of all, and you said where we were, and I heard you, and I usually don't listen to talk radio, but I did coming back home the other day after we won, and and then you brought Smoot on, and you was talking about,
Y'all are such a mess on
and
the
you was
show.
talking about why we won, and I told Smoot, I got Smoot in here, and I said, man, what's wrong with Clinton? My thing is, as an athlete, Clinton, and I think you the same way. If you're on that field, no matter what happens, it's about winning. Whatever people look at and outside the fans or what have you, and we understand about draft order and all that, but at this particular time, the draft is not here. And we got to worry about what's in front of us, and that's football games, and you got to find a way to win games. And we've been fortunate enough over the last 2 weeks to be able to win a couple of games.
So when you look at the couple of games that you won over the last two weeks, and Bill Callahan, you guys made a coaching change, and Bill Callahan gets his opportunity. The blueprint that he came in with, he said he wanted to run the football early on. It was like, we need to see Haskins get some attempts. I think he came out of the game with under 20 attempts, and now you're starting to see everything come together. Geis is healthy. 2 weeks in a row, Geis has been the spark for this offense, but you see other guys feeding off of his energy.
You're right, and you say run the football. The good thing about this, Clint, we both played for a guy by the name of Joe Gibbs, and I know this for a fact. One thing he believed in, if you can pick up 150 yards a game, you in control of the football game. And running the football is vital in this league. If you can run the football, it gives you an opportunity to be able to throw the football, because that means you dictating to the defense. And we've been able to do that the last couple of weeks per se, especially this past game, with Geis and Adrian Peterson, the way they run the football, the offensive line even get so much confidence, because that's the only time they're going to get the attention that you're going to get on the football field, when they open up holes for the running back. Even when they pass blocking, they don't get that credit. It goes to the quarterback and the receivers, unfortunate. But the best guys on the field, I always thought about, was the guys in the trenches. Because if the guys in the trenches are not doing their job, it's pretty hard for anybody else to do that.
Speaking of guys in the trenches, you all took a chance on a fellow U alumni in Eric Flowers, a guy who had been labeled a bust, had been bounced around New York, Jacksonville. You guys brought him here, moved him to left guard, and this season we have yet to hear Flowers' name called. You took a chance, and it kind of paid off. I think Eric Flowers, and I said this recently, should possibly be the comeback player of the year from his performance, because it quieted all the noise about him. So when you look at a guy like Eric Flowers, a Penn, who's replacing a perennial Pro Bowler and Trent Williams that's missing, when you look at those guys, what do you say about them?
Well, first of all, when you think about Flowers, I smile, because that's what he does when I see him every day. And when we first brought him here on a visit, him and I sat down a long time, and we talked about his career. We talked about how people looked at him as a bust and everything, and I told him from that day on that we was going to give him an opportunity to play guard. Mm-hmm. And I said, are you willing to do that? And he looked at me, he said yes. And unfortunately, during the off season and everything, he didn't get as much work in the guard, because, the guys that wasn't here, the Penn wasn't here and all that. So he had to work at tackle, which was unfair to him, knowing that he was going to be a guard once the season started. And when you look at what has happened over the last 12 weeks with him at guard, I'm with you. His name has not been called as much as a lot of other guys. Mm-hmm. And when an offensive line name is not called and he's starting every week, that's pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what Eric has done, you got to take your hat off, and you got to be happy for him, because I think what has happened here, we was fortunate enough to get him here and put him in a place that he became comfortable and has ascended at the guard position.
Doug, the record is what it is. But at this point in the season, to see glimpses from what could be the young core that we move forward with, going in and grabbing some games, getting some W's down the stretch, what does that say about the character of those players? Well,
number one, I know what the record is, and everybody else do. But when you look at this thing from a perspective that I look at it from, opening this season, we had an opportunity to win that first game, which tells you something. You got talent on this football team. And sometimes things don't go the way you like for it to go. I look at San Diego from last year. They was in the thick of things, and now they losing a lot of close games. One thing about this old oblong-shaped football, it bounces different. And this year it didn't bounce the way we was hoped that it would bounce, because we do feel like that we have talented guys on this football team. Do we need more guys? Yes, that's obvious. We got to put some more guys with the guys that we have to make us a better football team. And those are some decisions that's going to have to be made once the season is over with, when we all sit down and look at the performance of the guys on this football team and the nucleus of this football team, and where we go from there.
When you look at a guy like Darius Geis, who I know we were both excited about from watching Pro Day at LSU, and me being in the bubble with you when AP worked out and seeing the excitement, all of a sudden being able to see that combo, that 1-2 punch that you all had seen prior, now actually seeing it on the field, how does that feel?
It's a great feeling because, we would not have had AP, to be honest with you, if Geis hadn't got hurt as a rookie. Mm-hmm. We was fortunate enough to get AP, and you was at that workout, and it was off the chart for a guy that's been in the league that long to watch him work out the way he did. And to see this combination now and watch those two guys together in the meeting rooms, on the sideline, and seeing Randy Jordan got to be the happiest guy in the world at this time, because in the National Football League, if you got two guys that can run the football like that, you got to be happy. And I'm sure that, the offensive line, the quarterback, the coaches, everybody is happy from what we did last week and hoping that we can expound on it and go forward and do the same thing.
Before we let you go, being an African-American quarterback and having Dwayne Haskins, what do you make of Dwayne Haskins' growth in these 4 games? Like, everybody judge you so quickly, and I know we've had this conversation numerous times where I told you I didn't feel as if Dwayne Haskins should play before the bye week, and everybody had their opinions. But what do you think of the 4 games he's got an opportunity of his play?
Unfortunate, when you get drafted that high, everybody expects you to go in and turn water into wine. It doesn't happen like that. And when we drafted Dwayne, we knew from the start, we did not draft Dwayne Haskins to be the starter on day one. That wasn't the idea. Everybody tried to compare him to the kid up in New York. You can't compare teams, and you certainly can't compare individuals. New York knew what they was going to do from day one because they had already cut their squad to a bunch of young guys, got rid of a lot of guys. They knew they was going to eventually insert the young guy in there right off the bat. That wasn't our intention. It just so happened things didn't go right, and we got to this point, and we felt like at that time it was time to get Dwayne ready to give him opportunity to play, and he's doing that now, and a lot of people say, well, his stats. See, games are not won on stats. You can't win on stats. You got to win by making plays, and then when you look at what he did Sunday, there's a lot of plays that he made. That's the reason why we was able to win that football game.
Doug, we're a part of the people. And obviously, in terms of growth and what you would like to see the rest of the season, wins matter to fans.
Yes.
But what would you say, or how would you encourage the fan base as we kind of navigate the rest of the way?
I'm going to start by saying this. In 1986, I came here. And I came here and said to myself, I've never seen a fan base like the Washington Redskins.
I was 5. I heard that.
All right, I hear you. But let me say this. And I'm a firm believer in this. And I know there's some disappointed fans out there, but I do believe the fans that are fans of the Washington Redskins going to remain the fans of the Washington Redskins. They might not be happy with what's going on, and that's understandable so. But I think at the end of the day, there's a great base out there for the Washington Redskins, and they do deserve a lot better than what we've given them over the last few years, and the whole objective is give them what they deserve, and that's a better football team, and hopefully that we stay together and stay the course, that they can help us get to that point.
Hey, well, I hope you help me get to the point, and I hope we can stay together, Doug. Appreciate you joining 26 minutes. That's it.
Like
That's it for 26 minutes. Peace out.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
At Coke, our 67,000 U.S. employees make things that make your game days better, like fertilizer for greener turf and stronger paper products for tailgating. Viewing the game from your couch? Coke also makes the electronic components in TVs and smart devices so you can watch your Redskins victory anywhere. Coke, we make that. See it all at KOCHmakesthat.com. That's CokeMakesThat.com.
And now, time for another Honda highlight. The air was cold, but the deals were heating up at the Happy Honda Days sales event. With the entire versatile roster on clearance, all signs pointed to victory. Turbocharged tandems like the Accord and Civic, or all-wheel drive SUVs like the CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, and Passport. With clearance pricing, everyone's a champion.
Have your own Honda highlight with a clearance deal during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Now at your local Honda dealer.
Redskins fans, this is Darryl Green. After 20 years of being privileged to don the burgundy and gold on the football field, I've added another team's colors to my collection. For the past 16 years, I've proudly adopted the green and blue of Main Street Bank. Whether I'm using their simple-to-use mobile banking or dealing with their incredibly helpful staff, Main Street Bank always makes things easy for me and all of their customers. To find out all the ways they can help you, visit us at mstreetbank.com, member FDIC.